on a smooth Sunday afternoon. How's everyone doing? It's the Teddy Bear, and welcome to the zone of LOTO Radio. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and tuning out all the negativity in today's artist spotlight. Gifted singer, songwriter, Lord have mercy, simply captivating. Nikkole, my love, long time no see, my love. How have you been doing?
I'm doing fantastic. So happy to be here with you. I've missed you. It's been too long.
It has. And to all the listeners out there, the first time I had the pleasure of having this captivating artist on the show, we're going all the way back to 2008
Yes.
with the Creole Patra CD. And now here we are with the new album, Vulnerable. And I must say, your voice has gotten even better. Your beauty is even more exquisite.
Oh
And
my God.
the producers that you had assisting you on this album is incredible. How did you do so many things? How did you find time to, I guess, get in the studio and work on this new album?
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm so happy to be back with you again. It's just so incredible. You have an amazing format, and just to be a part of it today is exciting.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you. The idea was, coming off of my last album, Hallucinations, which is my fourth studio album produced by Derek Bramble. I wanted to do something different, something that sort of captivated like who I feel innately. And one night, my brother Wallace and I were talking. We're at his house and we're just sitting around like, who can we talk to do this next album? And all of a sudden, a Shalimar song came on, and he was like, "What about Leon Sylvers?" And I'm like, "What about Leon Sylvers?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that would be fantastic." So we hit him up, and he was amenable. He came by our studio, and we hung out, and we talked, and we felt like family right away. You know how like you get that connection.
Right.
And so we had that feeling with him, and it was like, let's do this. Let's start out. So we decided we're going to start out with 3 songs just to see how things were flowing. And once we got into it, it was like, this is it. This is what I'm talking about. This is the album I've waited a lifetime to do. So I knew like early on, like once he had presented a song to me, I'm like, the album should be called Vulnerable, because it's talking about the complexity of emotions and things that we go through in life as human beings, as artists in business or whatever, relationships. And I wanted to weave that flow in together into a story. And that's what we did when we did Vulnerable. And I feel so happy and so blessed to have this album out now to share with everyone.
One of the things that I've always appreciated about you is your transparency.
Thank
And
you.
I've noticed with every album, you will implement a lot of what's going on, not only in your professional life, but also in your personal life, in a lot of your music.
Yes.
And I wanted to know, how long did it take you to become somewhat comfortable or somewhat at ease to have that level of transparency, sharing so much of yourself to the listeners out there?
That's an amazing question. And to be candid, I'm still becoming more comfortable as we go along. But you know what I mean? But what I realize is that we're all sort of going through the same things at different times in life. And if I can share my story and it helps someone else get through something they're going through, that's what I feel we're here to do as human beings. We're here to help each other in this thing called life. And if my words, artistry, voice, can do that to someone, can be that conduit, I'm all about that. So it's still not, I'm still like, oh, should I say this? But like, then I do it. Then I do it, and I'm like okay with it. It's that initial, feel of doing it, but then once you get to it and you actually do it, you're like, oh, this is okay. I'm a human being. I go through stuff. It happens.
Right. One of the things I find interesting, I remember, again, the first time that I interviewed, you said, you know what, I can be very stubborn. A lot of times I want my way or there's no way. And you
Yes.
say everything that comes to you has to be organic. How important is it to have people that are surrounding you or just working with producers who have that natural organic feel, that creativity that brings the best out of Nikkole as an artist and also as a songwriter?
You know, Personally, I can't have it any other way than to be surrounded by people who I feel have experienced more life than I have maybe accomplished more things that I'm reaching to do. You know, we're always going to that next level. And it's important to me to be in the room with those people that I can be like a sponge and absorb with. And that's what it was like working with Leon Sylvers on this album. We actually wrote everything on the spot. It was organic. You know, we'd write something, I'd sing it, you know, it was just, I'd never recorded like this before. And he said, neither had he. And so I think it's important for me because you're right, I am stubborn. That has not changed. You know, I'm a little bossy, you know, but
Right.
that's the territory. But I'm willing to let go of that with someone I trust, and that's the key: having people in your life that you trust. You know, so it's like if my brother's there, my mom, or friends I've had for a long time, people that are not going to be yes people, but people that are going to say, "Hey, that's whack, don't do that," or like, "That's amazing," or "Push further, I love this." And that's what, you know, I think life is about in general, and that's what I brought with this album. So yeah.
One of the things that the complexity of Nikkole, you push back and you want people to challenge you. And I love that
Oh, thank
about you. I love that about you. But when you push back, it's a great thing because you're going to challenge that other person. I want you to show me and prove me that
you.
you have something that can bring something to the table that better than I have at this particular moment. And the creative juices start to flowing. And I've had an opportunity to listen to this entire album. And I must say, which shocked me because you've put out a lot of great music.
Thank you.
This album is incredible from beginning to the end. And your voice, which again is shocking to me, your voice has even gotten better
Oh,
over time. That is incredible. Now, I have a stickler now. I have
yes,
a stickler. I have a stick. Live performances, young lady.
yes,
Touring.
yes,
I
yes.
have yet to see you come out here to Houston and perform. What is going on, Nicole?
We're trying to get it together. I'm telling you, but, you know, that's the thing that I love performing and being in front of that audience and connecting with people. That's the thing that really just excites me, you know, after you've recorded your project and to see people singing along with you and enjoying as you go along. And when we had planned on the tour right before, right when the pandemic hit, you know, which delayed the album and the whole thing. So now we're gathering dates together, and I'm going to come to Houston. I'm coming.
I'll
Believe it.
hold you to
Yes,
that.
I'm
I'm
going to
going
be
to hold
there.
you.
Yes, we're going to be together. You know what I'm saying? We're going on stage. We're going to do this together. But I'm
All
excited
right.
to bring that forward. I really am going into the new year to have this tour come together the way the vision that we see is. I'm excited, and I think you're going to love it.
Absolutely. The
Yeah.
pandemic, I'm going to touch on that a little bit.
Yes.
We've all experienced the ebbs and flows of this pandemic, and everyone has had the opportunity to take a very introspective look about their life, the future. What are some of their goals, their plans that they have? What are some of the goals that you've set for yourself for the new year since we're roughly a couple of months away and going into 2023?
Well, let me touch back on the idea of like what this pandemic did to me emotionally or things that I felt in my life because it affected people in so many different ways. But what I have seen is a thread for everyone is that we feel we need to enjoy life more than we were doing before. So as you know me, I'm a workaholic and that's all I was about was just working. So after that, I decided, you know, seeing that life, we know life was short, but it brought it right in front of us again. We're like, oh my gosh, you know, something like this, it shuts the world down. We all felt like, you know, when we don't know when life's going to end, you know, it was sort of like that sort of a time, a doomsday feeling.
Right.
That I drew that, you know, life is so important to share with family and friends. So I decided to do a little more traveling as far as like taking a couple more breaks, still working super hard, but then playing hard. So I decided to do that a little more. And what has brought forth to me, like going forward into the new year and where we are now in the space is that, you know, as an artist, I feel that I have the ability as an independent artist as well, who has her own label. I have the ability to make choices that, you know, maybe an artist that's signed to a major label doesn't have. So I can decide to do this kind of song, or I'm going to release this now. And, I'm going to open up and share my story to other artists so that I can help them going forward. Those are the things that I've decided to do. And some people, look at that and they're like, oh, well, you should just kind of like stick to the format. We're in a new world. So there's no real format to follow that is going to bring forth what it used to bring back in the day, right?
Right.
Trying to figure out like, how can I make money? Because people are just streaming music. They're not buying it like they used to.
Right.
So you have to be able to navigate that in a way that makes sense and can keep you still doing what you're doing. And that's why for me, it's important to be able to, explore these new avenues. I've just got a new song that came out with an amazing producer from England, and it's called Never Give Up. And his name is Liam Keegan, and it's a house vibe, and so I'm just exploring these different means. I've always done like remixes, but what I'm doing is doing them in conjunction with singles from my album Vulnerable. And I'm finding that people are loving that because it's keeping you fresh, it's keeping you, on the tips of people's tongues. And that's what's exciting to me. And that's what I'm learning going forward and excited about.
Without question, you have never been one that wants, as far as being labeled or being put in a box.
Yes.
You feel like there should be no restrictions in the type of creative process that you do as far as towards your music is concerned. It's interesting that you talk about as far as being an independent artist.
Yes.
And it's amazing to me how things have changed, where I remember there were so many major labels and you had the little subsidiary labels, and now you have so many major independent artists now because they want the level of creative control, signing a distribution contract where they can sit up and have that kind of control over their music. Can you give us a little bit more insight? What does it mean to you to have that level of control over your career?
Well, not only does it mean that you make the decisions on, with a team, with a good team. I'm going to say, I don't want people to think, oh, she's just doing it all by herself. No, I've got some amazing people with me on the script, and I like to acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like with your team of people that you trust, you can make these decisions quicker and faster and hit the market faster as an independent artist. But you've got to be smart about what you're doing. Sometimes your budgets are limited. You're not going to have the high end budgets that like a lot of these, major 10 artists may have that we all know. And we hear their songs 18 million times on the radio on repeat, because there's no room for other artists unless you're understanding how to get into that. That's a whole nother story.
Right.
But I think that it really means, in the sense, if you don't mind the hard work, if you don't mind studying and learning about the industry, the business part of the industry, if you're going to take off this idea of like, I'm just a star because I put out some songs, and just get involved in what you're doing, you can make an amazing living and career as an independent artist. With all that being said, please, new people starting out, or people that are doing it and kind of think they're, hedging their bets and going forward, please, hone your craft. Do it so that when people hear your music, they're like, well, damn, I need to hear this like on every radio station. Why am I not hearing that? Not like, yeah, that's a little bit of stuff you're trying to do. Compare your stuff, get your art, get your everything, the creative side of the art direction, get that up to par. The music is important as well, but it is about marketing today and how you're going to market yourself. And if you can get all those key facts together, you can make it happen as an independent artist by owning the masters. That means you can sell less records and make more money.
Without question.
It's a no-brainer, but you got to be willing to work hard. You got to be diligent about what you're doing. You can't give up. You cannot take no as the final answer. If you get no from someone, you're asking the wrong person. Go to somebody else.
Without question.
Yes,
You're right. You're absolutely right. I want to take it a step further. This is what I have run into over the years. A lot of established artists that at one particular point in time, they were under major labels. The transition, as far as being an independent artist and dealing with social media, they're having a very challenging time with it, because now they don't know how to navigate social media to get their product, because they've always had, quote unquote, the machine
yes.
to do everything for them. And
Yes.
I remember something that you told me. You said, you know what? The most dangerous artist in the world is a free thinker. Lord have mercy.
Ooh, that's right. Amen, Janelle. That is right.
Free thinker,
Ooh,
someone that's well aware on how this business works, because you get in this business and they promise you this and that. You see stars and all this, and they said, wait a minute, at the end of the day, this is a business. That
right.
money that they advance you is
Yes.
no more than a loan. You have
It's
to pay that money.
recoupable. It's recoupable.
You have to pay,
It's,
you
it's
pay that
they
money
got,
back.
they got to get it back. They got to get it back. And not to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No,
but I
go
want to
ahead.
tag on to what you were saying. I think it is difficult for your artists that were out previously, did well, had success, and were signed to labels, and now they're trying to, they're free agents, so to speak, and they're trying to figure out, how do I do this? It handicapped people having somebody do all of that for them. It's overwhelming. Like, where do I start? And I feel like, and I have friends that are, in that arena, so to speak. But
Right.
the thing is that you got to start somewhere. So start small, because if you get, like, for example, on Instagram, for artists that were previously out before, and your fans they're going to be looking for you. All you got to do is really just start in baby steps. Start talking to them. Get your music together. Get a single together. Let people know that you're back in it. You're doing it. Let them know about your life. And I think that's the other thing, because, like, established artists from before don't really comprehend the sense of, like, today people want to know you on a certain level. They want to know when you went to the gym and that had a Jamba Juice or, like, whatever, right? They want to get to know you on that level. They don't need to see you all, like, diva'd out and all, whatever all the time. They want to know that you're real. And sometimes that's difficult for artists who were established before to really, be able to walk that fine line, not revealing too much, but still keeping it, authentic and real. So
Right.
you're right.
Absolutely.
You're right.
How have you managed to keep yourself level headed, because you have so many people that come at you at all angles? How do you separate the truth from the fake?
Well, I've been doing this for a minute. So, like, that little radar, like, go ting ting, like, like, oh, okay, I know you also, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I
But
understand.
it's like, I think and all, I'm being funny, but it's kind of true at the same time. It's like, I have this innate sense about people. Like, I can meet someone, or really just, like, spend 5 minutes with them and be like, okay, I see what's up over here, or
Right.
or I can decide that I want to move past the BS and figure out what's really going on. But if with anything in life, you got to kind of deal with that. And as a woman in the industry, that's another ball of wax, when you're putting yourself out there. But to answer your question, it's more of a sense of, like, I'm comfortable in my own skin now more than ever. I've gotten to that place in life where I'm just comfortable being me, whatever that means. I'm not trying to sound like, these other fabulous artists that are out there. We got enough amazing artists that sound like them. I sound like me. So I'm good with that. I look like me. So I'm okay with that. If I'm too big or too small or too tall or whatever, I'm sorry. This is who I am. You're going to have to accept it. So I think we need to come to a place as artists of just being like, I'm okay being me. I'm not trying to compete with these wonderful, amazing other artists, because I'm wonderful and amazing too. So you just got to get to that place. And it takes time. We all have moments where we feel like, oh, I don't know. Am I good enough? Am I whatever? But that's just like a little devil voice in the back of your head. It's like, get out of here with that mess. I'm
Right.
good. And I think if you can get to that place, which we all can, you're good. And I'm saying this for artists, for the school teacher, for the doctor, for whomever. Just feel comfortable in your own skin, and you can do whatever you want to do.
Being comfortable in one's skin,
Yeah.
and a lot of artists, especially a lot of female artists,
Yes.
a lot of pressure is being put on them to look a certain way, to
Yes.
be pushed in a certain quote unquote demographic. And again, one of the things that I find so impressive with you is that you've been in this game for a minute,
Yes.
and you have your head on a swivel, so you know what's real and what's Memorex. You know
Yes, indeed.
you,
Yes.
you know the difference. Do you feel that the industry has gotten any better as far as trying to make a female artist to fit in a certain box, or do you think they've opened up a lot more as far as giving them that kind of leeway, just basically to be, as you say, to be comfortable in their own skin and have that freedom of expression?
I think that you, as a female artist or any artist, I think you have to take that because the powers that be, are still going to look at like sex sells. So the sexiest, artist is going to be this or that. But beauty fades, right?
Right.
Right. So you got to have something else under the hood that people are like going to connect to. So I think women are feeling more comfortable with like, listen, yeah, I can be sexy at the same time, but I'm good with this here. So I know that I have something else that's, inside of me that people are connecting to, or I'm authentic and people are connecting to that side of me. Yeah, we're all human, so we like a little eye candy, right? Because that's just what it is, right? So that's the thing. But it's a matter of like, is that all I am? Like, are you going to
Right.
allow the industry to just say that's all you are, or is there more to you? And I think women, have a better understanding of that today. And I feel very confident with saying that with all the friends that I have that are beautiful and intelligent and like doing their thing. I'm just really proud of them. And to be a part of that crowd, if you will, today, I feel comfortable in saying that, no, I think they understand how to navigate it more so. We've got more tools today than we did before.
Without question. A
Yeah.
lot of your songs, previous songs, focused on relationships, growth, being respected for what's up here instead of the exterior. And as
Yes.
you said, I see your growth. And when my program director first showed me the photos, I said, wait a minute. I said, wait a minute. Nikkole is wearing leather. I said, okay, this is where we're at. And I said, she's gotten even more super confident. I said, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm
I had to pull the leather out. I had to pull the leather out for all mine. I had to do a
I
little
said, I'm okay. I said, I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that.
yeah.
What does success mean to Nikkole?
Success for me just means being able to be an artist and put my craft forward to people where they're accepting it. When people feel like, I can connect to you and your music, I'm good. I don't need anything else because everything else flows from that. That sense of feeling good and feeling happy that someone's like, oh my God, that song made me feel this way or got me through this, or I was like, hyped up getting myself together to go out to your song. That's all I need. You know what I mean? I know it sounds small and trite to some people, but seriously, that's what makes me go. That gives me that energy to keep pushing forward. And I'm excited to be receiving that, like, daily. It's like an exciting time for me. And it seems like every day there's something even more incredible that's coming forward. My first single from the album, All Mine, is just nominated for the Hollywood Music and Media Awards. So we've got that nomination, and the awards are in November 16th. So I'm super excited about that. I just found out about that on Friday. And it's just so many good things, that I think as an artist keep me, hungry and excited. And to talk to people who are into my music makes me even more hungry and excited. Like every time I hear one little small thing, I'm like, yes, someone's feeling it. It's a good thing. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Hey, well, the listeners, I don't like to use the term fans because it sounds too generic to
Yes.
me.
Yes.
The people, the listeners who just thoroughly love your music, what is that feeling for you when you get that kind of adulation and that kind of feedback and say, wait a minute, you know what? This particular song, it really touched me from an emotional standpoint because I'm going through this right now. And someone says, you found it so relatable. How does that make you feel as an artist?
It touches a part of me that I don't know that I can really articulate the way I want to, but I feel that almost like, okay, my work is done. Do you know what I mean? It's like my story or a friend's story, something that they were going through, connected with that other person in a way that's healing. There's no other way to describe it, but just to say it just warms my heart immensely to know that my words, my plight, uh, the feeling of someone that I've written, like we've written together on a song, and their feeling or their input helped someone get through something. That's like the ultimate. It's just the ultimate feeling.
The creative process. We have our good days, we have our bad days. What, as far as those emotional moments where your creative juices really, really flow?
It depends on what I'm going to write that day. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So I think sometimes that dictates what the song is your mood of the day. Now, from a business standpoint, if you've got a deadline, you're like, I got to get this track done. You got
Right.
to be able to dial into that moment and make it happen. But I think that the most, songs that are felt are the ones that are more organic in that mood of whatever you're feeling emotionally that day. And that's what Leon and I were able to do, and the other writers on the album, Vulnerable, were able to dial into those moments of what we were feeling at that time and put it in the music. Put it all in the music. And that's what we do. So it's not like a sense of like, oh, I feel this way emotionally today, so I can't do that. We dial it up. We make it happen. I think that if you are going through something, sometimes, let's say something, a breakup, you could probably write some of the most prolific stuff because you're feeling it in that moment. And you should jot those things down for when you need it if you don't need it at that time. And that's
Right.
kind of what we do, if like I'm sure most writers do that too. They have like a litany of like little notepads everywhere in their laptops or phones with little notes, and you pull those things together sometimes when you need them.
Right.
I hope I sort of dialed in on what you were
No,
wanting to know.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Because the writing process, when you put together a double album, that's
Yes.
incredible. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of transparency, a labor of love. And I get all that. It's like one big jambalaya
Yeah.
listening to this,
Yeah.
listening to this album. And I'm like, okay, she goes from one, it goes from this, and we go here. And I'm like, okay, so you can't just get fixated on one type of genre of
That's
music.
You pegged it. That's it. That's it.
And that,
That's my thing. Like you said before, I'm like that genre bending artist, like who
right,
loves all kinds of music. We're gonna make it commercial, in the same breath. But why not? That's what music is about, bringing people together. Why not do that? And that's what I think every outing, every album I've had has done and has grown the audience because it's like, oh, I didn't know she was gonna go here. I didn't know she could go here. And it's like, where can't you go when you love music?
without question. And
Yeah.
for those who are tuning in late, shame on you. But the teddy bear does forgive you. We're being joined by the super talented Nikkole. Remember, get the new album. It is available as we speak. Vulnerable. Yes, Lord.
Thank
22 tracks, a kaleidoscope of gumbo. It's a beautiful
Yes,
thing.
anyway. Yeah.
Make sure you stop by Nikkole's official website. That's at Nikkole.com. You can also catch up with her and all of her rest of social media as far as Facebook and also on Instagram. Gotta ask you this. The Nikkole of today, if she can hop in Doctor Who's time machine, go back 15 years, what kind of conversation would you have with that Nikkole as far as getting her ready and getting her prepared for this journey in music and
Yeah.
life in general?
Ooh, I often think about that. That's it's very interesting to say that. I do. Because I would tell her, don't worry, it's going to be all right. Being you is good enough. You don't need to be anybody else. No matter what producer, artist, whatever's trying to tell you, be like this when you sound like that, do that. That's noise. Get out of here with that. Like, don't listen to it. Do you, because that's what you're going to end up doing anyway. And it's interesting. My dad used to say, and my brother Wallace and I joke about this all the time, but he didn't mean it in a good way. He would say, "You're going to do what you want to do anyway, right?"
Right.
And we joke about that. He said it not like really, I'm excited for you, but like you don't listen to me. But really, he was saying, you like do what you want. You're gonna do what you want to do, and that's what I ended up doing. What I wanted to do, and
That's
I think
right.
people, if younger artists are listening, please don't listen to what other people tell you to do, trying to be somebody else. You are good enough as you are, and that's what the world needs more of. People who are individuals and not wannabes, but be you. Just do you. That's it. That's what I would tell you know young Nikkole. Girl, don't even worry about it. People are gonna come. You keep going. People are gonna come, and
There
that's
you go.
what happened. And it's a blessing, Teddy Bear. It's a
Do
blessing.
you still consider yourself a hopeful romantic?
Yes, I think all artists are hopeful romantics. I'm keen on that BS like we talked about, but
Right.
I'm a hopeful romantic. At heart.
remember, family, be sure again to get the new album, Vulnerable. And while you're there, let your fingers do the walking. Pick up all of our music. The Teddy Bear has all, I say, what, about 4 CDs, all autographed. Yeah, and I'm going to get the
Yes,
new one
order the
autographed.
new one. It's coming to you. It's
All
coming to
right,
you.
I'm gonna hold you there. Want to send out some love to Daniel Jenkins. She, hopefully, I'm pronouncing this correct. And C. Sean Ifran. If I'm not, I apologize, brother. It's all love, and of course, my man Wallace. All, thank you for
Oh, we
tuning
love
in. Oh
you.
yeah, he's got to watch over his sis. That's
He's
all
got to.
love. It's all
Yes.
love. My queen, it was an honor to have you on the show. Much continued success, and hopefully in 2023 you will come down here to Houston and grace us with your presence and your voice. I'm really looking forward to
I can't wait to see you and to see everybody in Houston and everywhere. It's going to be a
it.
good time for all of us. Yeah.
All right. The captivating Nikkole. Stay safe, my love. Much continued success.
Thank you. Love you
Hey,
so much.
all right. Love you too. The incredible Nikkole here in the zone of LOTO Radio. Lord have mercy. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and tuning out. The negativity. Remember to catch up with us, get all the latest updates. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's at youtube.com/Night Tracks Music. Also, you can catch up with us on TikTok. That's at TikTok at LOTO Radio. On Instagram, LOTL, The Comfort Zone Radio. And also Facebook at LOTO Radio, The Zone. And last but not least, on Instagram, that's at Instagram.com/LOTL, The Comfort Zone Radio. It's definitely been a beautiful experience. I want to thank everyone again. Without you, there's no teddy bear. Much love to you. See you on the other side here in the zone. Night Tracks Radio on LOTO Radio.